Hello everyone, this is In-Game Art with another boxing and an offline product game review. This is God of War 3 Remastered for the PlayStation 4, but being played and tested on my PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here is just a base vanilla version of the game, so the on-disc version is 1.0. Now, sadly, there was an update available, but this update is quite small and insignificant. It is only 10 megabytes big and will take you to version 1.02. Now, like always, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account, and I didn't experience any massive game-breaking bugs or issues. And as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. Now, all this update said was that it has fixed some minor little bugs, as well as the prioritizing the best audio quality, which not entirely sure what that means, but hey, that's what the update does. As I said though, I played the entire thing and I didn't see insignificant problems or anything like that. So this 10 megabyte update should be seen as crucial. Now, as well as that, this is the remastered version. If you don't remember, God of War 3 first launched out on PlayStation 3. It did have some DLC like cosmetical outfits and so forth. Well, that cosmetical outfits and as well as any other tweaks and alterations that they did back on the PlayStation 3 is on this PlayStation 4 version. So this is the most complete updated version of God of War 3 on disc, which is extremely nice to see. Now, I can't say my experience was completely flawless. I can point out a few little oddities. First off, there was maybe some audio bug. I'm not entirely sure. There was a few times, if I recall, like a Cyclops dropped down and did like a cutscene and the Cyclops roared, but there was no roaring sound or anything like that. That's the only audio bug I can really think that was present. There was also some minor graphical bug issue. I remember this one prior as well, that back when I used to play it, where I was crawling through Gaia and the walls were squeezing through the walls, and some of the walling had some weird graphical shapes or designs printed across it and segmented. It wasn't like the whole wall. It was in pieces. So that was present. It was again, it wasn't common and didn't ruin the experience or broke the immersion, but I did notice it. And as well as that, when you first start up the game's logo, like Santa Monica Studios and so forth, will have this minor little flickering and stuff like that going on with it. Nothing crucial, nothing interrupting, but it was present throughout my experience. Every time I booted up the game. So that's about it. Everything else ran perfectly. There was no frame rate issues, no problems. Everything just looked and played and functioned extremely good. Everything you would expect of a game nowadays, or at least you expect a game that should be anyway. So anyway, this is a game I've had fond memories and I just greatly love, and I've played all of the God of Wars. I've played 1, 2, and 3, as well as the PSP remasters they did for the PlayStation 3, and I have platinum every single one of them. That's how much I love God of War, the original series of games. And it's no different coming back to this game. I just had a blast coming to it. For me, it's a masterpiece. I greatly love the game, but I don't like to just call any game perfect just because I love it. There are minor issues, and it's my job to point them out. Now, I'm a big fan of fixed camera angles, so it doesn't really bug me that this game has a fixed camera angle. I greatly love it, because I generally like games I don't have to really mess with the camera, or at least too much anyway. So I greatly like the fixed camera angle, because that's like Knack. I love Knacks. I played 100 hours in the Knack, and that's just amazing good game, and I love the fixed camera. But there is problems with the fixed camera angles at moments where the camera is too close and it doesn't show enough of the battlefield, and sometimes there's enemies you can't really see off screen and they could do attack or do a certain action and you can't see it. That's undeniable. That's a problem in the game. Sometimes it will zoom in at specific moments even though you're kind of doing something or trying to look at something. There is issues, and it's worth pointing out. Nextly is that while the game I don't think is just as simple as square, square, triangle as I've seen many people claim the problem with the original game, which is, to be fair, it's true. You can pretty much beat the entire game with square, square, triangle. And I don't really find that as a fault, because if we wanted to use that system, we could get on to Dead Space. You can beat the entire game with Dead Space with just a plasma cutter. Heck, there's even a trophy for that. Or we can get on to the original first Mario. You can beat the entire game with just running and jumping without no power-ups. See, we can't really use that as an excuse. And if you want my book in this whole argument of this, great. I love the fact that the whole game can be beaten with square, square, triangle, because I am not a fan of having to push 20 buttons to do combination attacks. I like just being able to use a simple pattern and constantly use it. Now, granted, that's not entirely true though, because then if you play in higher difficulties, you just can't win with square square triangle because there's guarding, parrying, dodging, and then if you're wanting to survive, you're going to use other equipment that will help you get through certain segments. Because I know, because I played the game on the highest difficulty, and as I said, I've platinumed it. So I know that argument that square square triangle is all you need to do is to win. In retrospective, yes, on easier difficulties. Higher difficulties, not entirely true, and we can't really use that argument with the game. For me, I love the feel and play style of the original God of War games. I greatly love them. I love the cinematic camera angles. I love this version of Kratos a lot more. Named vicious, cold-hearted. Got his set mind is just straight up revenge. He's like the Greek version of Doom guy, if you will. And just go around tearing apart all the Greek mythology and gods and everything like that. I greatly love that. And I'm not a big fan of the direction they went with the newer series in the game. I'm not necessarily saying they're bad games. There's something about the original Kratos and the original gameplay and mechanics and the cool camera shots and quick time events during everything. It just all feels so good. And the music, the atmosphere, the graphics to this day still look top notch. I greatly love the graphics in the game. I mean, for the time, remember, this is technically a PS3 game, which is insane if you think about it. It looks like a modern PlayStation 4 or even some PS5 games, some aspects. In the end, this is an amazing game, and it's well worth to be in your collection, and it's just a gem to be in. I'm glad that we have a remaster of this version, and it works just fine on PlayStation 5. I couldn't be any happier with this outcome with the game. Now, it is very disappointing that we do not have like God of War 1 and 2 or even the PSP games. I really hope that maybe we'll see like a remaster, maybe remake. As much as I would like to see remakes of the classic original games, parts of me is worried that they'll alter it or censor it or politically correct it. Because the reason I love Kratos in this is just darkness is that in the third one here, not to be a bit of a spoiler, I love the fact that you grab an innocent girl or the Poseidon's daughter and chain her up to this gearbox and just let her crush her so that way you can get through. I love that. That's so cool. I love a character who's not like trying to be Mr. Hero. And I love the whole like having sex with an Aphrodite and everything. That's just so cool, and I love that kind of stuff. And all that stuff was missing in the reboot, if you will, and it just didn't have the same impact or enjoyment of the character. A lot of people claim that this original Kratos is very one-dimensional, and I have to highly disagree with this. Yes, he is just quest for anger, but there's a lot more to it. You have to play the games, you understand his anger and his direction and why he's doing what he's doing. To me, the newer games, he seems more one-dimensional than ever. He lacks character, he lacks soul, he lacks purpose. He just exists to be the guy who carries the boy. And I don't know, and then you get the boy problem as well. That's another whole problem. But anyway, I greatly love this game. I love the combat. I love the graphical style. I love the atmosphere. I love the music. I just love this game so much. And if I wasn't doing this YouTubing and doing other stuff and have to play other games, I definitely would run through this game all over again and platinum the game all over again, because that's just how much I love this game. It is, to me, a masterpiece. Is it perfect? Of course not. There are problems, and it's worth pointing out. Like the fact that you have many other weaponry in the game, but a lot of it is relatively useless. Like getting the Hades blades, as well as the Hermes, or the Smith gods, like weaponry. A lot of it is relatively useless, other than the Chaos blades that Kratos is using right now, or the Hercules' Lion Fist gauntlets. Basically, those are the only two weapons you're going to really be using. Now, the spells are not, like, there are issues, and there could be things that utilize resources a lot better. I don't deny this, and that is a problem, but in the end, I still had fun. I love the simplicity, but I love the complexity, and when you start going into higher difficulties and have to utilize your best to try to survive, because enemies can pretty much just one-shot you or two to three hits to kill you, it definitely ranks up in that difficulty. So like always, I will try to leave links down in the description if you're interested in a copy. I'm sure many people will disagree. Many people don't really like the original ones. They like the new reboot and claim that it's got deeper combat and everything. as much as I want to argue with that, I've only played the original, the reboot one time, and maybe at some point I will run through those games again, and maybe I have a different opinion now. I don't know. Maybe I was disappointed just because of I was expecting something else, and it just didn't deliver what I loved about like the original God of War games. But for me, this is something I will always recommend to anyone. It is the peak of PlayStation Studio games. I don't know why a lot of the studios have diverted from just, for me anyway, the quality games that I've grown and love. Like, I mean, Spider-Man's not the biggest deal to me. Ghost of Tsushima's not the biggest deal to me. Naughty Dog hasn't produced a good game since Jak and Daxter 1. I mean, there's many. Santa Monica Studios now doing God of War, and Osmiak is now doing Marvel games. It's just, man, I miss like Ratchet and Clank, Knack, just the original God of Wars. Just, I don't know. For me, I don't know. PlayStation Studios have been very disappointing me, but I'm glad to have this as available to me, and I'm eager to run through this game if I ever get some free time. So like always, thank you all so much for watching. I will try to provide links down in the description. Highly recommended. Do not overlook it. It definitely should be in your collection. If you're a fan of PlayStation Studio games, or if you want to play the original roots of Kratos, do not overlook this game. So like always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!